Hello everybody, I'm back. I recently did my review on this 2.7 liter Toyota Highlander 2010 model. Featuring that, if you ever had, uh, batteries-ish failures and stuff, here's the thing to look forward to. Things you'll need is you'll need this, flathead screwdriver, some distilled water. And not all batteries have this. This one's actually a factory battery. Surprisingly, they actually have these. I don't know a lot of cars that have these caps, which are cells. So what you want to do is you want to put the screwdriver in between one of those prongs, and I'll put you down for a minute. You get the point. Alright, I got this first cell off, and you can kind of see down in there little lines. That's kind of the part of the cell. What I didn't mention before, this will eat your skin. It'll burn your skin. You really want to avoid it. And also, which I didn't do, which I should have done, is all the dirt around here. You don't want any dirt inside there. I didn't really clean around it, but do that. I mean, kind of wipe it down a little bit, but I could have done a better job. And I'm going to take my distilled water and fill that cell up pretty much to the top. Kind of hard. Now, that one was kind of low, in my opinion. And what will happen, the alternator will then recharge that distilled water and turn it back into acid. Now, if I'm doing this wrong, you could yell at me in the comments. This is kind of dangerous right now because I'm dealing with acid here. And I'm going to tighten that, especially I have this big overhead light here and it gets really hot. Extremely dangerous. Yell at me if you want. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to dry all that water off that I spilled. And I'll be back with you. So, now that that's in, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put this thing in and turn it to the right, so I'm going to do that really fast. Also featuring this video, you'll probably notice that I have these pads and this pink color stuff. That prevents corrosion. It makes your battery last a ton longer. You can pick them up at Walmart, pretty much any store, local. And they work really well. So now back to this. I'm going to now do, before I do anything, I'm just going to explain a little bit about batteries. Basically, if one side of this, this battery's split in half, and if one side of the cell is low, then you could pretty much tell that all these are low, which they are because I checked them before. And then I haven't checked this side yet. So if this side's high, I'm going to figure that all these are high, because that's usually how it goes. So I'll do that, and I'll be right back with you. Here we are back. I'm going to finish this second cell. I think you don't need me to do all 6 of them. I think you can get the point. Now some batteries, this is actually the first battery I've seen that has these screw-on caps. Usually they're a long rectangle, and you lift them up, there's a little tab, you lift them up and it opens all 3. This is the first battery I've ever seen with these tabs. So, and it's kind of hard because I'm low on space and this bottle is hitting the thing. So you could yell at me for spilling this. I really don't care. I'm just trying to help my battery here. And the water actually cleans around it, so the battery does clean the water cleans part of the battery. So when I take my paper towel and I wipe it, it helps. And here's where it gets dangerous. Since the water mixes with that acid in there, when I screw this cap on, it's really to the top. That acid is come out with this water. As you can see, there's a little bit of bubbling. So I'm trying to avoid that as much as possible. I've actually touched a little bit of it. So really quickly, I'm going to wipe my hand. It's not burning me because it's a little bit it is, but... And make sure you wash your hands when you're done with this. Don't touch anything. It's going to save you from not having burns all over you. I obviously made a bit of a mess doing this job. I'm going to finish all the rest of the floor. I'm just showing you the basics. Trying to make this as short as possible. So, yell at me if I did something wrong. Which I'm pretty sure I did. Not using a funnel. But when you use funnels and you touch the acid with it, it actually eats the funnel, so I don't really use funnels. I kind of just do that way because it helps me clean the battery also at the same time. But some of you might disagree with me, so you can tell me that in the comments. I hope you enjoyed it. Well, actually, I'm going to show you a starter factor of performance. So I'll be back with you when I'm all done with these cells. This is just a quick note. If you have compressed air, use it. I should have said that in the beginning, but I just thought of it now. I'm using paper towel because I'm too lazy to get my air out, so yeah. Alright, we're now back in. So there's a couple of announcements I have to make. I had to pull the battery out of the car because that bar that went across, as you saw earlier, got in my way. Which I think I could have just removed the bar, but I just took the whole battery out. What will happen on certain cars, I know Toyotas do that, they will die out. So once I start it, it might die out, and I'll have to restart. So that's because the computer has to recontrol itself. So here we go. So it started. It may not die out. I know in the older Toyotas they do. So in this one, it's actually running fine. So what's happening? Alternator's recharging that. I'm just gonna run pretty much. Put heat on full blast, or not full blast, but turn on pretty much. You know, radio, whatever the case is. Obviously, my clock reset, so I'm gonna have to. Let's take a look at the battery. We're looking good there. Well, that water's turning into acid now, so looks like we completed our job. This is like a little note along about things that I did wrong that I could have improved, but I could have used a funnel instead of just pouring that in. When I start the car now, it kind of leaks out a little bit, and I kind of want to avoid that because it contains sulfuric acid, and I really don't want that getting on my wires. So, now that I think about it, I kind of really filled them up to the top. I try to avoid that, but I went overboard with that. Don't go overboard with it. It's just mess everything up, so go a little bit low. And then like I said, I took the battery out of the car and did it on the floor, on the garage floor, because it was easier to access everything. Then when I lifted it back up and put it in the car, it all leaked out and I got burned from it. It was a mess. Don't do what I did. Also, I figured out why the car didn't die out. If that were hot right now, that car, the RPMs, when the car's warm, the RPMs are low, it would have died out. Since the engine was cold, it kind of kept the RPMs up so the computer wasn't dying out. So those are just after things that I wanted to point out to you. Don't overfill those. That just made my life worse right now, so don't overfill those. If I were to do this video again, I would try to be maybe a little bit more clear for some of you and not overfill those caps, because it just spills out now. It doesn't squirt out, it just gradually spills. So I'm irritated about that. So that's just an FYI. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching.